Okay, so in English, we use this phrase a lot when we're talking about places that we're going or things that we're going to do. It's a very common verb. So if you think of how often you use it in English, you can imagine how often we're going to use it in Espanol. So in Espanol, the verb ir means to go, and it's usually paired with this preposition a, which means to go to. So this is what it would look like when it's normal, nothing's been done to it, there's been no change. It just means to go to. So if I want to use it with another verb, I don't need to change it. And this is always the rule in Espanol. If you're using two verbs in the same sentence, you only change the very first verb in the sentence. So for example, if I want to say, no me gusta ir a la escuela, me gusta already means I don't like. And then ir a means to go to. I don't need to change it because it already says exactly what I want to say in this sentence, to go to. I don't like to go to school. Necesito ir al baño. I need to go to the bathroom. Necesito has already been changed for yo. I can tell because it has that O on the end. I don't need to do anything with this because it already means to go to, which is exactly what I want to say in Espanol. Okay, but sometimes I don't. I want to say something different. Sometimes I want to say I go to or I am going to. And so I'm going to have to change the verb. Now, ir is an irregular verb because we're used to taking off the last two letters and then putting on an ending that matches my subject or my pronoun. Well, if I take off the last two letters, there's nothing there. There's nothing left over. So it becomes something kind of different. If I want to say I go or I am going to, it changes to yo voy. Okay, yo voy a. I go to or I am going to. Again, we're still using that preposition a. Okay, I go to. A lot of Spanish speakers, though, will just drop the yo. Okay, you can say voy a, and a Spanish speaker will know you're talking about yourself. And that's the case with most verbs. You don't really need the yo. Okay, it's just kind of understood who you're talking about. So let's say I want to go someplace. I'm going to tell somebody I'm going somewhere. Let's say la biblioteca, the library. All I would need to do is take voy a and then add la biblioteca. So this means I go to, there's the to, and then biblioteca. I go to the library or I am going to the library. The la matches biblioteca since it ends in an A. Or let's say I want to go to the pool. Okay, la piscina. Voy a la piscina. Pretty easy. I just use I go to the pool. See? So pretty easy so far. But this is where it can sometimes get a little tricky because sometimes the places we want to go to have an L instead of a la. For example, el museo. Because museo ends in an O, so I got to use a different article to mean the. So this is what it would look like. Voy a el museo. Well, Spanish speakers don't really like having two vowels right next to each other because if you're speaking at a normal pace, those two sounds are going to run together anyway. Let me show you how this works. So if I were to say voy a el museo, voy a el museo, voy al, oh, see, it already started happening, voy al museo. It's almost like that E doesn't even exist. So instead of using al, what Spanish speakers will do is they will combine those vowel sounds and create a brand new word. So instead of saying al, they'll just say al. It means exactly the same thing. It's like our conjunctions like cannot and using can't instead, or do not and saying don't. We know it means the exact same thing. It's just shorter and easier to say. That's exactly what this is. So it still means to the, it's just shorter and faster to say. So I would say voy al museo because I combine these two. Okay, let's do another example. So voy a el aeropuerto. Okay, so again, I would combine the a and the l. I know it's L because aeropuerto ends in an O, and I would say voy al aeropuerto. It still means I go to the airport or I am going to the airport. It's just faster to say. So let's look at this example. Would I choose a la or al? Okay, well I have I go or I'm going, and I've got iglesia. Now iglesia ends in an A, So that means it's probably a feminine noun, place. This means church. So I think I would probably use this one because la goes with iglesia. Ah, sí. Voy a la iglesia. I go to church. Okay, banco. Now, banco ends in an O, which means it's probably masculine. So I wouldn't want to use la. I probably would choose al, since this is a masculine place. So I would say voy al banco. Ah, sí, muy bien. I go to the bank. Okay, gimnasio. Again, this one ends in an O, which means it's probably masculine. So I wouldn't want to use la. I think I'm going to choose al. So I go to the gym. Voy al gimnasio. Muy bien. Oh, la tienda. This is a store. Can be any type of store. Could be like Walmart or Old Navy or any kind of store. Okay. So because this ends in an A, it means it's probably feminine. So I'm going to choose la. Okay, since those two go together. So I would say voy a la tienda. Bien. So hopefully this helps you to see the difference. Okay, when I am creating a sentence, I need to look at the place that I'm going. Is it masculine or is it feminine? If it's feminine, I'm going to use a la. If it's masculine, I'm going to use al. Okay? Bien. Adiós.